So meet the maker, meet Nolan. By night or by day, he's out saving lives as a respiratory therapist. But the other half of his time he spends designing and making custom knives. Nolan started making fixed blades, and his most popular model became the Warcry. As a custom knife maker should, Nolan started experimenting with different shapes and grinds and even materials as well. Eventually, a folding version produced by Bestech would emerge into various prototypes. So let's meet the Warcry. Despite the menacing name, the Warcry is a rather compact and pocket-friendly everyday knife. It comes equipped with a high-performance steel. M390 from Bowlers tends to hold a keen edge, and it also remains fairly stainless reliably. And if the heat treat is done right, the edge retention score is really high. The blade is attractive. It's got a big belly drop point spear hybrid profile with a really nice belt satin finish. Also featuring an ambidextrous thumb stud deployment method. Another thing that drew me to this unique Microbrand is their use of high-end materials. Some of the modifying is done by Nolan and some of it done by Bestech. But the final inspection and assembly process is all done by Nolan to ensure that each knife gets to his customer in perfect working order. Mine features a titanium Damascus show scale, and there's a matching 3D milled pocket clip. The backspacer features number 3 out of 20, which number 3 is my favorite number, so that's kind of cool in this particular run, although I will say there's probably many others like it. You can ensure, though, no matter which one you buy, will include some high-end materials and inspected visually by Nolan himself. So overall, what can you expect when buying a Warcry from Nolan? I would say you can expect a fun to look at, easy to open and close pocket knife with a decent amount of fidget factor. It's smooth to the touch and it's fun to look at with all the high contrast colors. And I think with the extra amount of luxury that Nolan adds in, it makes it a very competitive knife in today's markets with other micro brands and even major brands. In the future, Nolan plans to do some of these by hand and open up a larger custom shop. So keep a lookout for Nolan as more's to come from this brand.
Alright guys, we're back with the tabletop portion of this video. So Forever Knives, I really dig the name and I dig the logo and I dig the whole thing, the whole backstory behind it. So some of the things I wanted to highlight about Forever Knives, first of all, the packaging is quite impressive. You see, I wrote my name on this one when I ordered it. So you got the Warcry all the way up in here with all these action type things. We got some grenades, some paratroopers, we got a 44 Magnum, we got some probably 5.52 rounds, all kinds of cool shit, right? Bombs. So very cool. When you take this off, you get a sticker which kind of looks like this. I actually put it on my knife box, so no need for that anymore. Inside you also get this cool Velcro patch, very nice quality, I must say. And then, going a little further through, you get this certificate of authenticity. And what I really like about this one is that it looks like a metal plating. I mean, there is a lot of effort that goes into this whole little package right here. So here's all the specs, the serial number, all that good stuff. And there's Nolan's contact info if you want to reach out and get a knife from Nolan. Here is some spots, looks like for some bearings, perhaps, some extra stuff like a clip or something if you were going to do that. I'm not sure why that's there with empty spaces, or perhaps it was just something to put your stuff into the knife. when you're taking it apart. I don't know. So let's take a look at the Warcry. It's actually a lovely little piece. Just really fond of it. I've been spending some time with it and really enjoying it. So let's get this box out of the way here. It's taking all this space. So let's talk about some of the highlights about this knife. So some of the things I want to highlight: you got your premium M390 steel up front. Another thing about up front is this blade shape, which I think is actually quite unique. It's got a nice belly to it. It's quite a useful blade. The grind goes nice and high, which gives you plenty of cutting space, and it's not too much of a wedge whatsoever. So kind of cool. Definitely a unique blade shape, and I'm assuming, you know, you can kind of put your thumb there and kind of push down, or perhaps it's just something aesthetic to make it more appear like a spear point. But it is kind of like a spear point, drop point hybrid type blade, and just really nicely finished. It's a nice belt satin finish too. So I'm very impressed there. The flats look like they're hand rubbed, which looks nice. And we got this beautiful Damascus show scale. I'm sorry, they don't call it Damascus. They call it titanium Damascus, because Damascus is technically a brand name. So my bad. Anyways, just nice and bright. You could see all the layers and all the different coloring, and you got the same thing going on with the pocket clip right here. So very nice. It would have been kind of cool to have it as a backspacer as well, but honestly, it kind of looks nice as is as well. And then you got your serial number right there on the backspacer. There is some internal milling. You can see the heavy pocketing on the inside to keep the weight down, which is good. You got a nice relief cut here. You got plenty of space in your pocket clip. External relief cut for the lock bar. Let me see, is there, I think there's a over travel stop in there. Yeah, there's an over travel stop in there as well, with a steel lock bar insert. So you got kind of all the highlights, all the things that you expect in a modern day pocket knife that we get nowadays. But this thing does have a little bit more going on as well. On the inside, Nolan took it a step further and put some skiff bearings in there. And I like that because, you know, this knife is manufactured by Bestech, and a lot of Bestech knives, there's just a huge gapping going on right here where you can always see the exposure to all the internals quite a bit. And I always found that pretty ugly. As a matter of fact, that's the reason why I sold my Vero Impulse, is just, it didn't look clean to me. I also purchased a Booze Blade Smoke, which kind of has the same thing going on with this large gapping thing. So I'm really glad that Nolan doesn't have that in his design, and also kind of sealed up the bearing area with some nice skiff bearings instead of the traditional Bestech stuff. So kind of a step above. Ceramic bearings, ceramic detent, all the things you would expect from a modern folder. So pretty cool knife. Some of the things that I would change. Maybe I'm a little bit more of a neutral handle guy. You could see it kind of has a bit of an angle, which might be nice for cutting, but it just doesn't feel like the knife is straight in my hand. It does give it quite a bit of nice aesthetics, but remember, with this rear flare on a smaller knife, I don't have room to squeeze my hand in there, because the rear flare, the butt area, is really supposed to just be for like retention, right? So the only thing I can retain is 3 fingers, and then just kind of scoot this one back there. So the ergonomics are good. It's not that the knife is not comfortable or that it's not usable. It's both of those things, but it just has a little bit of a awkward grip for my hands. All right, so let's do some size comparisons. That's pretty much the only thing I would really change about it. Other than that, it's kind of a nice, perfect little knife as it's designed. So let's do some size comparisons. I brought some actual Damascus stuff here. Here, this is an Olamic Busker. This is a small knife, so you can kind of compare it to the smaller stuff. Let's bring out the quiet carry. Oh, nasty. Here it is against the quiet carry Drift. So a little bit smaller. So despite the threatening name, it's not a very large knife. Here's a Hinder XM18 3-inch. Pretty comparable, I would say. It's kind of in that size category right there. And something else you guys are familiar with, the Para 3. So the Para 3 is definitely a larger knife, but not by much, pretty comparable as well. If I bring out another little guy, just so you can see against a small knife, how this is not really quite that large. Here's a copper Natrix, it's the standard small one. And then let's put it up against a bit of a larger knife. Here, let's put it up against the Demco 8020. So you can see that just dwarfs it. And that's what you're looking at as far as size comparisons. Just so we can just verify the weight, I brought the scale out just for fun. And here we go. Let's take a peek here. Whoa. Let's reset it back to 0. And we got just a hair under 4 ounces. So nice weight, nice size overall. Just a really nice, pleasant little everyday carry to carry around. But what I really like about it is smaller knives are kind of hard to find in kind of a full dress configurations, and this is one of those knives where you can get it a little bit more dressy, and I really dig that. So Nolan does plan to start making full customs of his own fairly soon here. I believe this next year coming up. He's working on building a shop, so keep an eye on Nolan. I mean, he is one that is just kind of coming out of nowhere with his micro brand and just kind of expanding it. And I know these are getting traction. I know they sell out. So just keep an eye on Nolan, because more awesome things I'm sure are to come from Nolan in the future. So anyways, that's going to wrap it up for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys all on the next one.